gift. The next morning, Helen was radiant. "Stanley, look at the darling puppy you got me to surprise me like that, leaving him on the doorstep. You're an old softy after all." Stanley looked at the dog. He looked at Jack and the girls. He knew, but he saw the look in Helen's eyes, a look he hadn't seen in years. "Yeah," Stanley grumbled, petting the dog with one finger. "Just what I always wanted. Happy anniversary, Helen." Chapter 8. The Ghost of Kenny Jensen. As the months rolled on, Jack found himself facing a crisis of masculinity. It happened at the Regal Beagle, the local pub where the trio went to escape the heat and the ropers. A massive man, a veritable mountain in a leather jacket, had been harassing Jeanne and Chrissy at the bar. He was loud, rude, and seemed to enjoy the fear he caused. "Hey, kid," the man said to Jack, who was trying to disappear into his beer. "Do me a favor. Take a walk. I want to talk to the ladies." Jack looked at the man's fists. They were the size of small watermelons. I think I should warn you. I have a very delicate constitution, and my father paid a fortune for my dental work." The man laughed, and Jack retreated, his tail between his legs. Back at the apartment, he was inconsolable. "I'm yellow, Jeanne, a coward, a chicken," Jack moaned. "Even in school, that Kenny Jensen used to shake me down for my lunch money every day. I put that kid through college. You did the right thing," Jeanne insisted. "Violence solves nothing. You're a civilized man, Jack." But fate had one more round for Jack Tripper. The following night, the bully was back at the Beagle. Chrissy, trying to help, had whispered a secret to the man, that Jack was a Vietnam hero with a steel plate in his head and a hair-trigger temper. "You owe someone an apology," Jack shouted, stepping up to the man with trembling knees. The bully looked at Jack. He looked at the Vietnam hero with the steel plate. Okay, the man muttered, his eyes widening. "Just don't get mad. I'm going." Jack stood tall as the man fled. He was a hero, at least in the eyes of his roommates. And even if his steel plate was just a clever lie, the courage he found was real. Chapter 9. The Rent Thief. The final hurdle of the season was the most terrifying of all, the missing rent. $300 in cash had vanished from the apartment. It was in an envelope. Jeanne cried, frantically tossing cushions. Marked rent in big red letters. "I might have moved it when I was fixing the radio," Chrissy admitted, her face pale. "They called the police, but the detective who arrived was a cynical man who had seen too many fake burglaries in the city. $300 in an envelope marked rent." The detective laughed. "Nobody's that stupid. You're just stalling. Tell your landlord to wait another month and stop wasting my time." "We are that stupid," Jack shouted at the closing door. Desperate, Jack tried to get a student loan from Mr. Travers, the financial aid officer at his school. "I live with 2 girls," Jack explained, trying to sound like a responsible provider. "To girls?" Travers asked, his glasses slipping down his nose. And you need money, Jack. This is the 70s, but it's not a commune. I can't give you a loan if your father makes more than $6,000 a year. You're not poor enough to be a charity case, but you're too poor to be comfortable. You're in limbo, kid. They were packing their bags, ready to face the street, when Stanley Roper walked in. "We don't have it, Mr. Roper," Jonna cried, her voice breaking. "Have what?" Stanley asked. "I just came to see if you wanted to go to dinner. Helen's been nagging me about being neighborly." "But the rent," Jack stammered. "The rent?" Stanley blinked. "Oh, you mean that envelope I found when I came up to fix the sink yesterday? The one that said rent. I took it, obviously. I even left a receipt in the drawer. Didn't you see it?" He pulled out his receipt book. There it was. The money hadn't been stolen. It had been collected by the most oblivious man in California. "Oh, Stanley," Helen sighed, linking her arm with his, "you do mistakes better than anyone I know." As they walked toward the restaurant, the trio looked at each other and laughed. They were broke. They were living a lie. And they were constantly on the edge of disaster, but they had each other. And in Santa Monica, that was more than enough. Chapter 10, The Soulful of Suspicion. The morning after their celebratory dinner with the Ropers, Jack woke up to the smell of burnt toast and the sound of Jeanette arguing with a toaster. "It's broken, Jack." "Again?" Jeanette groaned, stabbing at the lever with a butter knife. "Let the professional handle it," Jack said, yawning and nudging her aside. He gave the side of the toaster a strategic thump. A piece of blackened bread popped up like a charred hockey puck. "See? Precision engineering." Jack was supposed to be studying for his midterm at the Culinary Institute, a complex assignment involving a cheese souffle that refused to obey the laws of physics. Every time he put it in the oven, it collapsed into a sad, yellow puddle. "I'm failing, Jeanette. I'm going to be the only chef in history who specializes in omelets that look like roadkill," Jack lamented, collapsing onto the sofa. "You're just stressed," Jonna said, watering her plants. "Why don't you ask Larry for advice? He claims he was a cook in the Navy." "Larry," Jack scoffed. "Larry was a cook in the Navy the same way I'm a monk in Tibet. He spent the entire war selling stolen cigarettes and black market nylons." "Speak of the devil." Larry Dallas sauntered through the door without knocking. He was wearing a leisure suit that was 3 shades too bright for human eyes and had enough cologne on to knock out a horse. "Jack, my boy, you look like you've been through a meat grinder," Larry boomed, helping himself to a seat. "What's the word?" "Girls. Money. Both. Soulfuls," Jack muttered. "Ah, the airy pillows of death." Larry nodded sagely. "Listen, I've got a better idea. Forget the cooking. Come with me tonight. I've got a line on a private party in Malibu. High rollers, beautiful women, and free booze." "I can't, Larry. I have to study." "Jack, Jack, Jack." Larry leaned in. "You can't study life. You have to live it. Besides, one of